Open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
GlobalScaleRadio.net.
If you're lying, then you must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J back once again for a live show. Hit us up 804-447-0601. 804-447-0601. Be down with us tonight on Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J on Monday, January 14th. It is our second show of the new year 2013, live and in living color. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. Call us up 804-447-0601 to be part of the discussion tonight on Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. We are in fact the highest rated show on globalscaleradio.net, and it's because of you guys, the fans, listening to us week after week, hitting us up on our fan pages, on our Facebook page. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J, the highest rated show on globalscaleradio.net. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We got a hot show. We got a full slate of topics that we're going to get into tonight, and we got a full crew that's going to help us do it. Tonight we got a sports roundup, we got an NBA recap, we got a National Football League divisional recap, we got a fish bowl. Big Rube's coming back with the fish bowl, and then of course at the end of the show we got our rants and we got our closings. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J is live tonight on globalscaleradio.net and on MixLR. We want to thank everybody for joining us once again, as we do every single week. We go around the room, we check in with the crew. We're going to do that real quick, and then we're going to get to business tonight. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J's very own Carlton Banks is sitting on my right. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. How about you?
I'm doing fabulous, doing well. It's good to see you. Ain't seen you in a week or so.
I know. It's glad to be seen and not viewed.
Oh, yeah, because there's people that wouldn't like viewing you.
Nah,
yeah,
because I might be on that show.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. We talked about that last week.
I took a moment to catch that. Really, I did. Only because we talked about it the other week. And for those who don't know about it, what's it? The best funeral, down home funeral, whatever the show is.
Best funeral world's best funeral or something. Yeah,
dude. Why they talking about they want to put this dude on this roller coaster?
That's a terrible show, man.
They gonna cremate the dude and put him on a roller coaster.
I mean, didn't they have like a leprechaun or something?
Yeah, I heard about that. It got stupid to me after a while, and I started watching Scared Straight. Yeah, after about 5 minutes into the show, it gets stupid.
Yeah, man.
So I started watching Beyond Scared Straight.
Well, actually, I do like Beyond Scared Straight. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, they was in Jersey City, yo.
They was somewhere.
They was in Jersey City, and I'm looking at it, and every time I watch that show, I mean, cut you off and steal your thunder, but every time I watch it, eventually they get scared, and the inmates can break them down. Yeah, not in Jersey City.
Yeah, they had this cat. These 3 guys went in it together, right? And they said the first one to cry got to pay the other one $5. Man, that dude was boo-hooing as soon as they put the cuffs on his ass.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then one cat decided he wanted to be stupid and jump up like he was about to do something. Man, they threw his butt to the table, cuffed him, and then picked him up by his arms and legs, and then put him in one of the restraining chairs.
That's crazy.
And, man, but the one cat, this dude was 15 years old. Why he as big as some of the inmates in there? I'm sitting here like, 15? You as big as some of the inmates? Dude. You need to be on somebody's football team as big as he was.
Ain't No Half Stepping.
They made him cry too, though.
Ain't No Half Stepping Marcus J. I ain't gonna lie, I love the show.
I do too, man.
So the rest of the weekend, everything was cool?
Everything was good, man. Football was pretty decent. Weather was decent. Got to throw the kid outside for a little while. But other than that, chilling. Can't complain.
What's going on, Big Robe?
Yo.
Big Robe.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Not much, just chilling.
You doing all right?
Yeah, life is good.
You have a good weekend, man?
Yeah, it was all right.
Only all right?
Yeah, because I had to work Sunday. That sucked.
Ooh, you had to work on a Sunday?
I mean, I worked one Sunday all last year, and we not even a month into the new year, and I'm on a Sunday.
That's not a good thing, man.
Nah, I wouldn't. That wasn't cool at all. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Other than that, you all right?
Yeah, everything's beautiful.
That's wonderful, man. It's good to hear it. As I mentioned to you before, we're going to run around this whole thing real quick, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome back to the show for the first time in 2013. Joining us for her monthly spot, we got Miss Tony in the building with her fine self. What's up, girl?
Hello.
Doing all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy
to be here
New
with
Year.
you guys again.
It's good to see you. It's glad to have you back in the building with us. How was your weekend?
It was wonderful. Spent some time with family in Durham.
North Carolina?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you made the trek on down to Durham, North Carolina. I'm glad to hear it and whatnot. And everything was cool? Everybody all right?
Yeah, actually, my niece is expecting any day now. So,
Yeah, really?
Yes, poor dear. But she is...
Why you say it like that?
Dude, her stomach is like the size of... It looks like a 5-year-old is just kind of like tucked away under her breasts.
Wow.
So,
let's go a little bit more detail. Why don't we?
I mean, if you
She
saw
must be having a
it
girl.
looks unreal. No, she's actually having a boy,
She's
but
having a
I mean,
boy.
he's really high, and
Okay.
her due date is like the end of February. But she's been having contractions for like the past month and a half.
Braxton Hicks. We know
So-
those terms.
oh no,
she's
no,
ready.
she's like it's like breaking down on a knee
Oh, good
time.
gosh.
But doctor's still giving her 2-3 more weeks. So
I mean, she just incubating them, so, he good to go. Go ahead and
incubate.
I'm saying, you know, just like I know. At this point, at 8 months, you incubating. That's all you're doing. You just gaining weight because everything else is done.
Leave it to Colin Banks to be a real sensitive gentleman over here to the plight of the pregnant ladies. We appreciate that,
Yeah.
Colin
Yeah,
Banks. Thank you so
but-
much.
Hey,
You the one that
months ago-
started it, talking about she all high up, riding up under her neck and whatnot.
This is Colin Banks. Yeah, well, 8 months ago, all you do is getting fat. That's Colin Banks.
I ain't talking about her.
Just for the record, that was Colin
Colin
Banks.
Banks.
I know.
Colin Banks.
That was Colin Banks.
I ain't gonna take this from y'all.
We don't.
I mean-
well, we ain't gonna take it. At this time, I want to take another opportunity to introduce with us, joining us for the first time in 2013. Joining us for the first segment, going to join us in the Sports Roundup in the NBA segment. We got the National Basketball Association's analyst for us on Ain't No Half Steppin'. My brother, my partner, my friend. We got Kdub on the live line. What's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. How's everybody doing?
Doing fabulous. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year's to y'all as well.
It's good to hear from you. You know, I talk to you every damn day, but the listeners on Ain't No Half Steppin', Marcus J, they ain't heard from you since Christmas Eve. So it's
Sure.
good. It's good to have you. It's good to have you with us tonight. I want to get right to it. There's a few things that I want to get to. Not all of them are associated with the National Basketball Association. Actually, one thing is definitely not, and then we'll get to a bunch of stuff with the NBA, and I think we got plenty of time to make sure that we get it all in. The first thing that I want to get into is the interview that is probably taking place right now, or certainly at some
It's over.
point. But certainly at some point, thank you, Big Rube. And certainly at some point today, the interview that will air on Thursday on the Oprah-owned network that will have Lance Armstrong, who will allegedly come out and finally admit to using steroids during his Tour de France victories that he had been stripped from last year. So I want to ask you first on this, K-Dub, your opinion on the cycling, the fact that he has admitted it, the fact that he fought it so vehemently up to this point, and now all of a sudden he's decided to come clean, and he's using Oprah as his vehicle to do so.
Well, I feel like, just like anybody else, when you got something to drop or to admit or get over, whatever, everybody runs to Oprah at this particular point. It's kind of funny, man. I thought about this a little while ago, what my actual reaction to him coming out, what does that really mean? Let me just first look at it like this. Obviously steroids or any type of drug that's used, it probably in cycling, I don't know too much about it, but I would think that it may give you some type of an advantage. So obviously him admitting it, it makes us look at the winning that he was doing, and makes us look at it in another light at this particular point. But it would be interesting to see, why is he choosing now to come out with it? He could have just continued to deny it and rolled off into the sunset. But it'll be interesting to see why he's doing it. And from what I understand with the interview that was done later today, he kind of gives a roundabout admission. Like, he doesn't actually come, from what I understand, he doesn't come out actually and say, yes, I did ABC. You know, it just seems as though he's admitting it without admitting it. So that's kind of sketchy. And I don't know, what is it that he's trying to gain from this? I really don't know. So a part of me also doesn't really care, personally.
Hey, Tony, I'm not sure how much you pay attention to cycling, probably about as much as I do. But, you know, Lance Armstrong is one of those athletes that's kind of difficult to miss, whether you're paying attention to his sport or not. So kind of the same question that I asked Kdub, the whole thing about him coming out now and admitting his transgressions. And I really wanted, with your answer, I kind of want to focus on the whole Oprah angle and what's up with that. I mean, now, Big Rube, I'm going to have him tackle the now part, but I want you to tackle the coming out to Oprah part.
I think he used that kind of like as a way to kind of cushion the blow or his fall, you know, to try to, I guess, make it be accepted a little easier than it was. I don't know why everybody was so shocked. I mean, he's a man, and you know. No, I'm saying he's a man, as in he is a human being. How about that? He's not a superhuman.
Carl Banks was about to go in on you.
Yes, he was.
he was about to go in on you. He was about to go in.
He is a human, and, you know, I'm not surprised. He's not, you know, he's not Superman. However, again, I think he went on Oprah just, again, to kind of be ushered into the windfall, if you will.
You know, he went on Oprah. He didn't go on ESPN. So, you know, ESPN is a bigger market, okay? Oprah's not that big of a market. I have never watched Oprah. I don't know why I haven't, okay? But the fact is he went on Oprah to win whose side of the story?
It's not about winning anyone's side of the story, and it's not about reaching a certain number of people. It's about Oprah is she's candid, but she's still respectful.
So she's neutral.
Not necessarily. I mean, she asked the questions that she wants, you know, in order to make the conversation go to a certain direction. Mm-hmm. But, she's
no Barbara Walters.
She's not going to, well, Barbara Walters is a cranky old lady. She was when she was young, too. But, no, I think Oprah does a good job of kind of easing people out and making them feel comfortable enough with her to tell them at least what they want us to think is the truth in a way that's acceptable.
Big Ro, you got the face on. You either vehemently disagree or you so agree with them that you just have nothing to say. But I think it's the former.
First of all, y'all crazy. First of all, all y'all crazy. He went to Oprah simply because Oprah is the media vehicle for stars to come out to. Don't you know all the crazy star crap happens with Oprah Winfrey?
Isn't that kind of what Tony just said, though?
No. Yes and no. Well, I agree with you on one end and I disagree on the other. Oprah is a huge media outlet. Just because her network sucks, that does not mean that 50 million people aren't going to watch that atrocity that's about to happen on Thursday. Second of all, my opinion is, look, man, they ain't catch me. I ain't admitting to jack. That's what I said. You know, first of all, you got to show me a picture with me with the stuff with the needle in my arm. You know, how you beat hundreds of tests, and then they come back at you and say you failed when you passed them all. Really? Whether he did or not, he beat them. The USADA, as I mentioned last year when we talked about this, is mad. Tiger, the leader of that stupid place, is upset that he got basically his face handed to him. The French tried to go after him about 6 years ago, failed. The United States trying to go after him. I guess in a public eye, they're winning. But real talk, you take this to court, this crap doesn't do anything. You got no proof he did anything. You got a whole bunch of circumstantial evidence. Personally, if I'm him, and it's funny how everybody's like, well, he says he's coming out, yada yada. I don't think dude's coming out. I think it'll be like, yo, I'm fighting this because this is a whole bunch of BS. And F you, Oprah, you cool. F you, I'm out. And that's how it should be. But real talk, as far as Lance Armstrong, I'm a believer. I don't think he did it. And if he did do it, You didn't prove it.
Ask Steppin Marcus J. The only thing I'll say is this. It's one of those things where if they say you did it, it's cool. But if they saw you did it and can prove you did it, that's even cooler. If he's going to come out and admit to doing something that he hasn't been proven as guilty, then that's a him thing. I don't really have an opinion on it in the sense that, if there's no positive test, then there's no transgression. And they haven't proven him guilty, so I'm not riding with the whole witch hunt against Lance Armstrong. I'm not going there. Ask Steppin Marcus J. Next thing I want to get into in the sports roundup that leads us right into the National Basketball Association. I'm coming to you first on this one, Kdub, because it's a good segue into the National Basketball Association, what we want to talk about. But I want you to answer this question more generally, not just basketball. We'll round it about. Trash talk. There's a lot of trash talk that goes on in sports. We saw it last Monday night, Madison Square Garden, with regards to Kevin Garnett allegedly saying what he said to Carmelo about his wife. And, it's out. It's about, and basically what he allegedly said was Carmelo's wife, Lala Vasquez, who's fine as hell, tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios, which we all think is pretty funny.
Maybe
we all think it's pretty funny. I'm going to give my opinion on this first, Dub, and then I'm going to come to you on this one. My whole thing is this. Trash talk is there. It's going to be there. It's always going to be there. We talking about a dude who allegedly said to Charlie Villanueva, who has a condition that keeps him from having hair on his body, that he looks like a cancer patient. We talking about somebody who allegedly said to Tim Duncan on Mother's Day, after having his mother pass away, who, of course, in common knowledge, people who knew Tim, his mother was already passed away. Kevin Garnett allegedly says to him, "Happy Mother's Day, MF." And then he rounds it out, and these are the things that have been made public. He rounds it out by saying his wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. Now, me personally, I'm looking at the Charlie Villanueva thing. I'm looking at the Tim Duncan thing. Those are venomous, mean-spirited type things, whereas your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios, that's just kind of corny. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny, it's kind of corny, and allegedly Carmelo's having marital issues with his wife, so that might have been the reason why he was set off, if he actually, in fact, did say this. But my question to you is this. With that backdrop, how do you played competitive basketball up through college, so I'm guessing that you've been experienced. You might have been on the Kevin Garnett side. You might have been on the Carmelo Anthony side. Why don't you just kind of give me your take on the whole thing, and we'll just kind of round table it.
Well, it's one of two ways. I mean, ever since sports has been around, trash talking has been out there, especially on basketball, and Lord knows what the linemen say to each other in football, as well as, lining up against a wide receiver, so on and so forth. It's out there. Every person that you'll probably ask, every person that has probably played sports will tell you, some probably will tell you that there's a line. Some people will say all things is open in between the lines. Me personally, I was a big KG fan, and I'm not an anti-KG fan, but within the last 3 or 4 years, man, just to kind of hear a lot of the things that he said to people, I think it's borderline, man. It's borderline getting blood in your mouth. I don't have a problem with Carmelo getting in his face and going and really, getting after him during the game. May have crossed the line after the game as far as waiting for him, but, and I told somebody else this as well, that was just something that was reported. This happens all of the time. There's been fights with teammates. There's been fights with other people that wasn't necessarily recorded. And personally, I think that if the person that recorded it with the cell phone or cameras wasn't around, we probably would have heard about it, and the suspension wouldn't have been warranted. But back to the whole thing about trash talking, there's just some things you don't say, man. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, and this probably goes for any neighborhood, you don't say certain things about people's moms, and you don't. And I would say you're not gonna say something about my wife without me, addressing it. It's my own personal opinion, and everybody probably has their own opinion.
I agree with you, K-Dub, especially about the mom thing. If Tim Duncan didn't punch that dude when he said Happy Mother's Day, or, Charlie Villanueva, who likes to fight, didn't punch him when he called him a cancer patient, to me, Carmelo getting mad because he said his wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios is kind of like a punk move. Especially, I didn't know that he waited for him.
Oh, yeah, you didn't see the video?
That's even a bigger punk move.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to sit there and I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand you got to stick up for your wife and stuff. But if y'all separated, allegedly, then what you doing? And then it's a Punk move. If you're not going to hit him, then you wasting time.
I mean, I looked at it like this. I looked at it like this. I mean, I started off by saying it was kind of a, weird for him to kind of snap with regards to Honey Nut Cheerios. It's corny.
It's kind
if
of
anything,
funny,
it's
actually.
funny. It's kind of corny, but, there were also rumors of, Carmelo and Lala being separated. And if they are separated, him being on the road with the Knicks on New Year's and her being in South Beach tweeting about how much fun she's having and he ain't around her, and somebody might really find out that she do taste like Honey Nut Cheerios. That's enough. That's enough, Tony, to get anybody, Tony, to
Isn't that a compliment?
to be. Well, it depends on if you like Honey Nut Cheerios, Tony. What you think?
I mean, I thought it was funny, and just having kind of watched Carmelo and Lala's relationship as we have as outsiders, over the years. I mean, I don't take their relationship seriously based on what I've seen, of course. I mean, who would put a real serious... You don't put that in front of everyone.
Yeah.
There's limitations. But I thought it was funny, and, I mean, yeah, maybe somebody else does know, but you need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing at home, and maybe he would know about that, or whoever really knows about that would know about it.
I mean, what are you going to say? Your mom tastes like chocolate pudding? I mean, really? I'm going to be like, what? I mean, that's the best mama joke you got. She tastes like something. I know what it means, but...
It's
Come on,
kind of
man.
it's
He
kind of
ain't said
corny.
shredded wheat.
It's
Don't
kind of
nobody
corny.
like shredded
That would have been more funny though. That would have been funnier than say shredded wheat. But like Kdub said, trash talking is done in every facet of sports. I mean, they do it to the extent where they go out and do research on players and get scripts and say, "Yo, your mama this, your daddy that, your kid that, and all that." So hey, for one, I don't blame Kevin Garnett for getting in Carmelo. Because he got under his skin, that impacted his game.
Right.
That's all that needed to be done
Well,
there. I need to impact your game. You may be dogging me, but guess what? Your wife
And
tastes
it's
like
worse in
Cheerios.
college sports.
I sort of understand. I sort of understand, Doug. Give me a second. I'm gonna come to you and let you wrap up this part. The whole thing about him saying what he said, but there's certain lines that I do think that you probably shouldn't cross. But then again, as a Knicks fan, that's me talking. If it was Carmelo saying it to Kevin Garnett, and we ended up getting in Kevin Garnett's head and getting the victory behind it, maybe I might feel a little bit different. And I'm going to be honest about it. I don't want to be a hypocrite. But I want to move into the basketball segment because it's a perfect segue, K-Dub. This game was the first of 3 games in a row that the Knicks ended up losing before they get a victory against the lowly New Orleans Hornets yesterday. They ended up losing, of course, at home to the Celtics and then on the road in Indiana, then for the 3rd time this season in Chicago. What's going on with these dudes, man? Why they lose, I think what are they, 5 and 8 in the last 13 or something like that after coming out of the gate. I mean, they still 11 games above 500, but should there be any cause to panic in Madison Square Garden?
Well, no. They're 4-6 over the last 10 games, but if you've been watching them, you've noticed that different starting lineups, individuals haven't been playing. You're trying to acclimate Amari Stoudemire, who just came back from an injury, into the starting lineup. And if you really think about it, out of those 10 games, and I don't have it in front of me, but out of those 10 games, I want to say Carmelo Anthony didn't play in about 3 of those games.
K-Dub.
I'm sorry?
K-Dub.
Yo.
Does my theory of Amari makes your team worse, have an effect here? He came back, y'all 4-6, y'all last 10.
No, because
he hasn't played 10 games.
This is only his 3rd game back. But what I was saying also is that over the past 4 games, they haven't had Raymond Felton. And Raymond Felton, whether you know it or not, as well as you don't have Rasheed Wallace. You don't have Rasheed Wallace, who's a defensive. Who's actually, see, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have Rasheed Wallace, who's actually 6'10". Whatever points he may give you, that's a plus. But what you can't put numbers on is the defense, as well as him being the quarterback of the defense when he's out there. As well as Raymond Felton averages double points in points, but what he does do, which again, if you watch him and what you'll notice in the games that he's not there, is that he is the one player on the team one of the many players that can collapse the defense and create shots for other individuals. You have Jason Kidd, who right now is running the point. But if you really watch Jason Kidd over the past year or two, he's now the shooting guard. So you have to change a lot of players around. That's why you have a little bit of a difference in what they look like early in the season and what they look like right now. And with Amon Shumpert being cleared to play on Thursday, that will bring another defensive horse on the defensive end that can put the pressure on the guards of other teams. Two, you have another young athlete out there that can bring down those minutes of Jason Kidd when Raymond Felton comes back in another 2 weeks. And like I said, Rasheed Wallace may be coming back in a week or so as well. You can't sit there. You can't really say that Amari Stoudemire does not make the team better, because guess what? When Amari Stoudemire comes into the game, the man is still Amari Stoudemire, and I've already spoke this with Marcus. He's going to have, shortly, he will have that game that you'll look at and be like, okay, if you watched him over the past 3 games, you've noticed that he's gotten better as the games are going. Yesterday, I believe he had 12 points, and all of his points were basically post moves that he worked with Olajuwon over the summer.
I look at it. I look at it like this. I look at it like this, Big Rule. I'm gonna let you get the last point on him, and then I want to move on away from the Knicks. But I think it's disingenuous for anybody to be watching them and say that Amari is the reason why they haven't won, because one, he hasn't played that much. He's only played a couple of games. It's a guy who hadn't played since last spring. He's coming off a knee surgery, so you really want to be looking at him in the next couple of weeks before you really can say that he is a positive or negative with regards to the Knicks. That's the first thing. As far as the fact they haven't played well the last few games, the Knicks haven't been whole the whole season. They came out of the gate. They looked well. They weren't whole then. I'd really like to see what they look like after the All-Star break, when they could potentially have their whole team. You got Raymond Felton, who will be back by then. You got Amon Shumpert, who's going to be coming back this Thursday when they play in London. Hopefully you have Rasheed. Marcus can be back. You got a whole cast of players. And then if we're looking at them at the end of February, early March, and they're having these losses, then maybe you can say that it's a Amari Stoudemire thing, or you can say it's another thing. Big Rube, McGee, the last word on this, and then I want to move on to the Lakers.
Question: is this the best Knicks team since that you've had since Patrick Ewing?
It's the best Knicks team that I've seen since 2000, since 99, 2000. I haven't seen a better Knicks team since 99, 2000, when they lost in 6 games, or 5 games rather, to the San Antonio Spurs in the finals, and that Knicks team ended up losing in large part because Patrick Ewing didn't play due to injury.
Kato?
If you go player by player, this is the better team out of those 2 particular teams, because if you go line by line, player by player, you can go basically 2 to 3 people deep on this particular team where you didn't have that luxury in 2000. I
want to go ahead and give a shout out to VA Girl, who is hitting us up on MixLR. Appreciate the support we're getting down there from VA Girl. She's a Celtics fan who's saying it, but she's addressing the Carmelo KG thing. If you let it go one time without addressing it, then you leave the possibility of being disrespected again. I understand that logic. As far as, the trash talk, they say that Michael Jordan, Larry Bird were the 2 biggest trash talkers around. My whole thing is, a lot of stuff you're going to say, and you can say it out of fun, but once you start saying things that are personal and that are going to hit home, that's when you start crossing the line. Kdub, let's get into some Lakers talk. What's going on out there in La La Land?
Lakers 16-21. Over their past 10 games, they're 3-7. I want to say recently, maybe last night, I believe, Dwight Howard returned to the lineup.
Yep.
One thing that I have noticed is that Dwight Howard is not the Dwight Howard that we were used to seeing in Orlando. I think that honestly they rushed him back from that back surgery. I mean, let's really look at it. He had back surgery and came back and played in the same year, 2012. I think that with the D'Antoni system, it's really not conducive for Pau Gasol to be successful in that system. And again, I spoke about this earlier in the year. I just think that their bench is not formidable for them to be a juggernaut in Western Conference. And from what I understand, they have an individual that is out for the season with has to get hip surgery. So that's another.
Hill.
I'm sorry.
Hill's out.
Yes, exactly. Hill. That's another thing that's basically shooting the Lakers in the hip. But one thing that I will say is that from all of this going on, Earl Clark, who's actually a New Jersey native, used to play for Louisville, and played for Orlando. He's actually stepped in and gave them some good minutes. But again, I say it again, the Lakers. I'm not really sure on paper. Lakers are a very good team. They're way better than a 16-21 record. You have basically, I'm going to say, you have possibly 4 future Hall of Famers on that team: Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, and Dwight Howard. Possibly all-stars. And I don't know. I don't know what's gonna turn it around. I mean, are they gonna play the string out and try to get a draft pick?
Well, I look at
really don't know. It's up in the air.
I look at the Lakers like this. They remind me of my Yankees from a couple of years ago when, after having a few good years, they went out and they signed a bunch of players based upon the back of their baseball card a couple of years ago. That's how you look at Steve Nash. That's how you look at Dwight Howard. That's how you look at Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. Now, granted, he had been there, but he's not the player that he was before. You look at Dwight Howard. I've always said that he's an overrated player. I've said it from the time I saw him come into the league. I think Dwight Howard benefits on the fact that he is a very good player that plays the center position in an era where we don't have any other very good players. So he looks a lot better than what he is. The guy shoots 48% from the line, and he scores a lot of his points off of weak side, in garbage time. So I'm not sold on him. And then, you get people that want to tell you, oh, well, he's not playing well now because he's coming off back surgery, whatever. He's on the floor. He's playing. So you need to give me what you got. And I don't want to hear none of this. He's a compromised player. He's out there. So I'm just not sold on this particular Lakers team, just like I wasn't sold on the 2004 Yankees team, because I see very, very strong parallels. So, and then the fact that they got, a coach that doesn't fit, who doesn't belong there. Mike D'Antoni has no business in Los Angeles, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired at the end of the season, which he should, Big Rube. I know that's your team. I'm going to give you the final word on it.
The most dangerous thing that can happen with this team is if they get to 500 by All-Star break. Because if we get to 500 by All-Star break, then you need to start watching the Lakers, because I really think that by All-Star break, just like the Knicks, we're going to have our whole team back. I think at this point it's a pride issue. So with pride, and you're talking veteran players, they don't take negative pride very well. So I really think that I'm not saying they're going to use D'Antoni's system. I think for once D'Antoni might have to change his system, because when it's all said and done, Lakers brass have said they're not getting rid of anybody. This is your team. Take it, and you need to make the playoffs. And it's that simple. I think we will back our way into the playoffs, maybe a 7th seed. But the most dangerous team in the Western Conference, you give us a 7th seed, second round, maybe finals. Veteran squads do very well in the playoffs.
I suppose it's possible, but I don't even see. Hold up, Dub. I don't even see the Lakers winning, getting into the playoffs. So that very well could be a moot point. We got a hit on the Facebook page from a friend of the show, Aaron Turner, who is a good friend of the show. He saying Lakers no bench, D'Antoni's system don't match the roster. Dwight Howard is not fully recovered. I agree with you up until that point where you mentioned Dwight Howard. I feel like if you out there on the floor, it don't matter if you recovered or not. You playing, so that's what it is. Ain't nobody giving the Knicks no pass because Amari's not completely healed. Kdub, last word on the Lakers, and then give me real quick what you got around the rest of the league.
Hey, Rule.
Yeah.
10 teams ahead of the Lakers, and out of those 10 teams, there's only one team that's ahead of you that's under 500. Even if you were to be at 500, you have too many. There's too many teams for you to chase in order for you to get into the playoffs. So I mean, it's a good way to think, but the Western Conference is too stacked and too good for the Lakers to back into the playoffs.
Well, we're 4 games out of the playoff spot right now. So with that being said, we're 4 games out of the playoff spot. So anything can happen after the All-Star break.
Kdub, give us the final word on what's going on around the league so we can wrap up the segment.
Right now, really the only other thing, you still got Oklahoma City still rolling along, looking like one of the better. Them or the Clippers looking like the best teams in the league. You have Miami still kind of. I think they still a little drunk off their championship high, but we'll see what happens with them when playoff time comes. They're sitting still number 1 in the Eastern Conference at 24-11. But I think the big surprise right now is that recently. Avery Johnson got fired from the Brooklyn Nets, and since that has happened, over the past 10 games, the Nets have reeled off. They're gone 8-2, and it looked like a totally different team from what we saw recently on national TV against the Boston Celtics. That pretty much is the big deal right now. Just looking at Brooklyn, and again, I said something to a lot of people before, and I'm going to still reiterate. My sleeper team is the Golden State Warriors, coached by one of my all-time favorites, and I know Marcus's favorite, Mark Jackson.
Mark
He got
Jackson.
them young boys playing. He got them buying into the defense, and hopefully they'll have an all-star in David Lee, which will break a long record for Golden State not having an all-star in the game. So those are my teams that are keeping an eye on and have made a lot of noise since we last spoke.
That's your man Kdub with the National Basketball Association segment here on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. We're going to leave it there. Dub, appreciate you joining us. Thank you every time you come in. Give us a lot of good information. We appreciate it. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Dub, any final words, bro?
Nah, man, I'm cool. You know what? Next week when we speak, man, if we want to speak about that Carmelo, man, it's personal. But I'm good. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy yourselves, and everybody take care of yourselves with this flu going around.
You got it. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got the National Football Association. We got the divisional playoffs. We got 4 games, and we got Big Rube sitting as the lead dog in the picks. Marcus J. Ain't No Half Step. Be back in a minute.
Hi, this is Jane Trinette, and I'm in Orlando, Florida. And I love Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. on globalscaleradio.net.